Sun's coming up. Let's finish my pre-trip. Want to get it going, get it warmed up. Do some hauling today. And then the weather comes in starting tonight. It's supposed to get 3 to 6 to 10 inches of snow tomorrow night into Wednesday. Plowable snow. Be only the second time I'm plowing all winter. If it happens. Never know. The Boston Trucker here. Welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy it. Done. Go back empty on this one. Just looking at Facebook. I put up a post. Actually, I put up pictures on YouTube about my first couple driving jobs. Serta Mattress, which I only worked for 2 weeks. The guy hired me. I got my truck driving license in called it a class 1 back then, on December 14th, 1988, my 18th birthday. And I get a job with Serta Mattress in Holbrook, Massachusetts. And I worked there for a couple weeks. I really wasn't cut out for loading and unloading mattresses, especially queens and kings. And then the guy says, "Oh, we're going on inventory for 2 weeks." I said, "Oh, well, what's that mean?" He goes, "Oh, you're off for 2 weeks and we all come back." I said, "What? Do I get paid?" No. So I just never went back. I got a job at East Coast Truck and Trailer, driving an early 1970s L800 Ford single axle, 5 and 2 in a Detroit, no passenger seat. Picking up it was from a tractor trailer body repair company, East Coast Truck and Trailer in Walpole, Mass. I talked about this before, but there's a point to this story. And I bobtailed around picking up empty trailers that had body damage, which there was always plenty of them. And I bring that back to the shop, and they would repair them, and however long it took, and then I would return them to the customer. I also picked up tractors, which was a great first job. I would get a ride to, let's say, Ryder or Penske or United Truck Leasing, or trucking companies like Land Transport, where I ended up working later. Cisco, a bunch of companies. And I pick up tractors, so I got to drive lots of different kinds of tractors, different kinds of transmissions. Most of them were day cabs, a few sleepers. I was telling a buddy of mine how crazy I was. One day I was picking up an R-Model Mac, twin screw R-Model Mac at United Truck Leasing in Braintree, which is a big customer of ours. And I was taking that to the yard in Walpole, Massachusetts. But I was so excited that I got to drive this R model, because it was a pretty cool truck. I bobtailed all the way home to Brockton first, which is way out of the way, just so I could give it a quick wash, and then bobtailed it back. Like that was like the last run of the day. Oh, cuckoo back then. That was a good job, but then one of the customers was Land Transport, and they were offering me more money and more of a trucking job, so I ended up going there. And I started working local for Land, mostly driving single axle Internationals and Fords, and I would get to drive the road drivers' trucks when they would come in from their trip. If they were going home, their truck could still be hooked to their load. I could just take the road drivers' trucks and deliver the loads. Some of them weren't too happy about it. I don't blame them, but I always brought them back in pristine shape. And I just saw Marvin. So I ended up working for Land Transport, working local, and then I told the story 100,000 times. And I was still 18, almost 19, when I did my first road trip for them. And somebody on Facebook said, well, how did you drive out of state under 21 years of age? The simple answer, very quietly. This is before social media, that's for sure. I definitely wasn't announcing it to anybody. I just really wasn't worried about it, to be honest. I told my boss, I said, hey, I'm not 21 yet. He goes, yeah, just don't get caught. And I didn't, it wasn't something I thought about. I just did it. When I started out in the cab over, at that point, my local truck was a cab over International 9670. I think it had a 350 Cummins, maybe. A 9-speed. I had a bunk, but didn't have a mattress. And my first road trip, I got a piece of foam and I threw it in the back, and that's what I slept on. And I stayed out on the road. And that truck really didn't go far. We'd go as far as like Evansville, Indiana. I'd haul out of there and run down to South Carolina with a bunch of drops, TJ Maxx stores, Spartanburg, Columbia, Hilton Head, a few others. And then I'd empty out in Hilton Head, bounce up to Georgetown, South Carolina, International Paper. Usually get there like Friday night. Pick up a load of rolled paper, heavy loads, like, 46,000, 47,000 pounds. I leave Georgetown usually early Saturday morning, like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and run it straight back. I get back to Massachusetts late Saturday night or early Sunday morning. I go home, get home 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, go home, do my laundry, and I leave at 9 o'clock at night, Sunday night, go over to TJ Maxx warehouse in Worcester. Usually took an empty with me, grabbed a loaded trailer, and leave there like 10 o'clock at night. First drop would be Paterson, New Jersey, Hackensack, that whole 80s corridor, Elizabeth, Newark. I hit all the TJ Maxx stores. And then that was Monday. Then Monday afternoon it'd be empty. All floor loads, every box out the back on a roller, unload by hand. Then you go over to like Kearney, New Jersey, some S-hole place, and would load boxes going to TJ everything. Usually it was top to back. You're exhausted, you're filthy. Now it's Monday, 5, 6 o'clock at night, rush hour. You go by Kearney or Jersey City, somewhere in that great neck of the woods there, and get up on 80. Either get up on 80 or I get up on 78. I think I actually was 78. So I heading west. Get over to like Columbia, the TA, in New Jersey, or Stroudsburg, maybe Milton, PA, All American. Get a shower. It's late now. It's like late Monday. Shower, go to bed. Get up early, like 4, 5, 6 hours later. Run straight to Evansville, Indiana. I don't remember how many miles it was. Probably 800 miles, 700, 800 miles. Straight across 70 all the way. Boom, boom, boom. Columbus, Indiana, Ohio. It's funny. I don't know if I ever told the story. My first trip across 70, I'm a rookie, right? A rookie with no fear. My dad trained me my whole life, so it wasn't like I was never afraid of anything. But the first time I'm going across 70 in Ohio, crossing to Indiana, you're in New Paris, Ohio. A few miles into Indiana, trucking along, cab over, right? This big wheel, and I go, I think I just passed the scale and it was open. I did pass the scale and it was open. Oh boy. Oh, nobody's coming after me. Okay. Mental note. Remember that the scale is there next time I come through. Literally a week later, same exact thing. I passed the scale and it was open and nobody came after me. Yeah, that was a round I did for about a year. That kind of round. Jersey, Evansville, Carolinas, back. Then I graduated. I got the cab over Mac. Air ride cab over Mac. Mac Ultraliner or MH Mac. And that's the truck I really started taking care of first. Washing it, cleaning it. I always kept the insides clean because I cleaned my dad's trucks when I was little, so I was always trained to just keep the inside really clean. And that truck, I was running a lot of Evansville, still doing the Carolinas, but then TJ Maxx opened a warehouse in Las Vegas, and that was like a big deal to run Vegas. So I'd run from Evansville to Vegas. You get out to the Vegas warehouse, drop your loaded trailer. You'd either pick up a loaded trailer going back to either Evansville or Worcester, Mass, or you pick up an empty. A lot of times you pick up an empty, bounce down to LA, like not Beverly Hills part, LA off of the 10, Bandini Boulevard, the real touristy areas. The places truckers only get to see. Go over there, load some floor loads, and run it back. Now, I used to, this is when you're young and dumb, and you just you don't really care. I used to be able to turn Vegas 5,600 miles, okay? 5,600 miles. And a cab over Mac with a 350 Mac. 6 days, 6.5 days, if I ran it out and back straight. Out of Worcester to the warehouse. Sometimes we ran straight to Vegas, and I did this for a long time. Straight to Vegas, it's 2,700 miles. 3 days. A little less than 3 days to Vegas. Drop and hook, turn around, come back. 6 days, 6.5 day turnaround. With a 350. And not think twice about it. And then come home, and go home for like a day, half a day. Start a new logbook. Write put it in. I just had 7 days off vacation, or 8 days off vacation. I'd do it again. And I wasn't even tired. Like, I wasn't exhausted. I had a lot of energy back then. I can barely get through the day. I can barely get through the day now. Just kidding. But I spent a lot of time in Las Vegas. Spent a lot of time in Las Vegas those years. Driving from land. You know, you didn't always get out of there right away. Sometimes there was some downtime. We had about 4 drivers stationed in Vegas. They were out of Vegas. I became good friends with. And we go out on the town to hang out. I'd sleep over their apartments on the couch. A lot of good memories. Older guys. You know, these guys were, you know, probably 20 years older than me. You know, you're talking, I was 19, 20 years old. 21, I was still 21 too when I left there. I drove for land from the time I was 18 and a half to 22. And we spent a lot of time in Vegas. Lingerie bars, strip joints, casinos, all good, clean fun. And later on, when I drove for Bud Meyer, which is where I went after land when I was 22 in 1992, I was running LA every week out of Minnesota, so I'd stop in Vegas and see my old Vegas buddies. One of them bought a house. My buddy John Daniels bought a house in Henderson, and I actually had like a guest room there, so at least once or twice a month I'd spend some time in Henderson. Usually I left Minnesota Friday night, I could be in Vegas or Henderson by Sunday morning. Spend the afternoon in Nevada, you know, for the day. Did this pretty often. I had a car to drive, and then I leave out of there late Sunday night. Get down to LA or early Monday morning. Yeah, it was a pretty awesome time. I loved Las Vegas back then. Yeah. I haven't been back to Las Vegas since 1999. It's crazy. It's crazy because I spent so much time there. Probably won't even recognize it. I gotta get back though. I wasn't a big gambler. I was a big eater. I was a big eater. I could eat a lot. Those buffets are made for kings. Played the slots. A little bit of blackjack. Mostly the slots. But I get addicted. I have that addictive mentality with the slot machines back then and the dancing girls. It was really unhealthy. So it's kind of a good thing that I stopped going there. But nowadays I don't have that compulsion at all. Not even a tiny bit. Anyways, the reason I was bringing this up was I posted those pictures. If you can find them, my first early driving jobs, might be interested. And I was telling the story when I was driving for East Coast Truck and Trailer, you know, the body repair company. You know, back in those days, all I ever wore were truck stop t-shirts that I got when I was a teenager, being on the road with my dad. Sometimes my dad would pick some up for me, and that's how I dressed. Cat diesel power, I have a baseball cap with trucker pins in it for the little trucks that I pick up at the truck shows in Boston back then. And I would be driving this old single axle Ford. This thing was a dog. Like, it was a little hills, dropping gears in that thing. Detroit just screaming. And for lunch, I'd always pull into the Bickford's in Sharon, Massachusetts on Route 1, right before Gillette Stadium. And back in those days, there was always road drivers in there, a lot of prime drivers. Back when prime drivers were kind of cool. Were prime drivers ever really cool? A lot of road guys park at that Big Fits. I got a lot of pictures from them. And I pull in there with my big Ford single axle, and I park in between a few big rigs, and I walk inside that restaurant with my trucker t-shirt on and my cat hat, and I sit down and order me a big lunch, like a steak and gravy or a hamburger, and I look outside the lot at my truck. I think I was kind of trying to pretend I was one of those road guys with my trucker t-shirt on. Just pretending. I'm still pretending in a way. But waiting for my day. And back then I thought it was going to be till I was 21. I had no idea that same year I'd be running the road. It's funny how things happen like that. And I'm here to talk about it, which is kind of cool. Couldn't really talk about it back then. I mean, the people I work with knew. They didn't care. Nobody cared. Nobody was worried. It was trucking. That's some pretty cool truck stops back then. 76, Stroudsburg. It's just up at the 76 in Bloomsburg, New Jersey, which is now, no, it's still a sign. I don't know, what is it, TA now? Pilot next door, that Pilot wasn't even there. Johnny's. The Polish Cafe in New Jersey off of 78. That was always my favorite. Beautiful Polish and Russian waitresses. Great trucking memorabilia on the walls. All-American in Milton. The Buckhorn. TA in Bockyville. Diamond J's. Pennsylvania. Trucker's World, which hasn't changed, which is funny. I was there last year. Like the same thing. Like a time warp. Petro and Girard. A couple good truck stops in Toledo, Toledo 5. Down on 70. Had Buckeye Lake. Old Washington. Man, first time I pulled in one of those places. I can't remember which one it was. Buckeye Lake or Washington. Middle of the daytime, like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, lot lizards. Just running wild. Never seen anything like it. I can picture it in my head today. Just like truck to truck to truck. And CB chatter just going crazy. Just watching the show. Broad daylight, in front of the trucks, not hiding. I never partook in that. But it was fascinating to watch. I always liked the Petro in New Paris, Ohio. There was a chrome shop right down the street. And a hodgepodge of chrome goodies. You never knew what you were going to find in that place. I'm going to run across Indiana, go down 41, pick that up at Terre Haute. Pilot, get on 41 south and go. There was also a truck stop off of 41 in Indiana. I want to say down in Vincennes. It was on the right side. Nice little mom and pop truck stop that I used to like to stop at before I get into Evansville. Had a good time in Evansville too sometimes. Sometimes you get there, have to wait till the next day. You get a motel sometimes at the Motel 6. The Denny's right next door, right after Whirlpool, on the left side. We hang out there. All the land drivers that hang out there. We had an office on Morgan Road in Evansville, but there wasn't really any truck parking. You could only bobtail in there. But you know, you get into Evansville, you drop the trailer, and you just be bobtailing around. So I'd always bobtail around, see what kind of trouble I could find. So I was ready to load. Good times, good times. Now I just do this. Mindless, back and forth, back and forth. What happened to me? Oh, I know, I got priorities now. I'm gonna watch my kids grow up. Should also add, we had a few other different trucks and land that I never mentioned. All the trucks were leased, mostly through Lilly Leasing. And Lilly had a garage right in Land's yard, which was 333 Beaver Street in Framingham. I believe Estes is there now. And we also had, I don't have any pictures of, we had some white GMC trucks. Those are pretty cool trucks, except the seats wouldn't move up far enough for me to reach the pedals very well. So when I drove one, I'd have to put a pillow behind my back, which just is never comfortable. But I like the white GMCs. We also had a few white Road Commander cabovers, which I didn't really like. They call them road commodes. Wasn't a big fan of those. We also leased some trucks from Rollins Leasing. They were yellow and black. We leased a cab over 9670 from them. That was a very bare bones tractor. The ones we had from
74745.
The ones we had from Lilly, the 9670s, at least they had cloth interior. The ones from Rollins, they were brown leather interior. They were just very bare bones. We also got some Freightliner conventionals from Rollins. I drove an extended hood, all single bunks, extended hood, one stack, setback axle Freightliner. I guess that was an FLC with a setback axle. And then an FLD 120 forward axle, one stack. We also rented trucks from AMI Truck Lease. Those were usually Fords. I had a Ford LTL 9000 with a Caterpillar in it, and a small, I think it had like a 36-inch bunk in it, and a Ford Aeromax, which I do have a picture of that I've posted before. A Ford Aeromax with like a Darth Vader looking bunk on it. I love that truck. That was a cool truck. So it wasn't just the cab over Mac and the cab over International and then the extended hood International. When I got the not extended hood, when I got the International 9400, that was like the fleet truck. That was like you were one of the boys. And I was happy to have that truck. My problem with the 9400s are wasn't really any place to put the CB radio. I used to have mine on a board. My speaker and my CB radio mounted on a board. And I would have to strap it down in certain places. A lot of bungee cords. Those trucks would run. I don't remember what, they had Cummins in them. I don't remember what the horsepower was, but those things would get up and go. good. Perfect. Andrew's gonna back the low bed in right here and leave it here during the storm. Shut it down, put her away, and I'm gonna ride back with Teddy.
Down to around freezing overnight, and just how warm it is in your area is going to mean anywhere from a couple inches of snow to the south of the city to a foot locally in some areas, mostly inland and to the north. Boston itself right now is predicted to see up to a half a foot of snow, but also we've got strong winds, some coastal flooding, power outages expected. We here at WBZ News Radio 1030 keeping a close eye on this. We'll be bringing you the latest.
What do you think we're gonna get? Foot of snow?
Nah,
3 to 6?
3 to 6.
Heavy and wet? Heavy and wet?
Oh yeah.
That's what he said.
It's not cold enough to be fluffy.
Think we're gonna pre-salt?
Who knows?
It's not gonna be any blizzard of 78, that's for sure.
No.
Cleaning up the snow plow for tomorrow. Somebody left the PTO on, of course. The last bucket, I like 10 yards of stone for weight. They also call it ballast. I don't know why though. So what happened with the snowstorm, where we plow in Waltham, we're supposed to get 4 to 10 inches of snow. So I was on call to plow. Downpoured rain till about 11 o'clock in the morning. The city of Waltham was downpouring rain till about 11 o'clock in the morning. Out west where we are now, they were getting a foot of snow, but that doesn't matter to us because we only plow where we plow. So 12 o'clock it started snowing really, really hard. Big giant flakes. It was coming down hard. I get a text. Everybody in your machines or your trucks, 2 o'clock. So I had 2 hours. I only live down the street. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna go take an hour nap. So about 12:15, I lay down, set my alarm for an hour. It's snowing really hard when I lay down. So I'm thinking to myself, the whole time I'm laying there, I couldn't sleep. I'm like, man, that snow's coming hard. I'm gonna have to clear off my car. Just kept thinking about the snow. Then I kind of fell asleep a little bit. My alarm goes off. 1:15. I get up, I get dressed, I look out the window, the sun's out, the roads are black, it stopped snowing, and it never snowed again. So we didn't get any snow. So I had a day off yesterday. I just sat on the couch. Andrew was an assaulter for 8 hours, and Teddy was an assaulter after that overnight. And Teddy's home now. Andrew's on a low bed, and I'm gonna do some trucking. I got it sprayed down with the WD-40. And we're gonna head out there. The roads are wet and salty. Sun's coming out. Snow's gonna melt. Let's do it. I hate about dumping 3/4 stone, it makes a mess of the truck, especially the back wheels. Wow, look at that. I could drive around like that all day. It's only gonna get worse. It's only the first load. You like You like using a low bed?
Oh yeah.
Like making moves?
Keeps me fit.
Keeps you fit? I can
right.
tell.
Planet Fitness is my ass.
That's funny.
Keep you strong. Say your prayers. Eat your vitamins. Drink lots of milk.
And you can be big and
Big and strong like me.
just like you one day.
Great.
I want to be just like you one day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good luck.
Time to get my shine on. Andrew gave his notice today. 2 weeks. What do I gotta think about that? I gotta call him. He said the reason was the commute. It's too long. He's got about 50 minutes. And Teddy are on a job today. Stand back and look at the clean truck. Parked over here at Walgreens. I guess there's not enough room for both of us over there, so I'm gonna take a walk over to Vernon Street over here. Let's see what the deal is. We're gonna be hauling some unscreened loom off this job site. You might call it topsoil where you're from. We call it loom here, L-O-A-M. Not L-O-O-M, we've discussed it before. See the job over there. Gotta keep an eye out for all the wires, cars, curbs, traffic. But we get the best guy on the job right here, Jose. Jose's the man. He's the only person that's been here longer than me. Trust that guy with my life. Hey, I said to Mike, do we have any cones? So when these cars leave, you're gonna cone it off. He goes, we had the whole place coned off. Cone, sign, somebody stole them during the night. I got my tire turned out to protect my bumper. Not because I don't know how to drive. And fluffy. There we go. There we go. Really? Plenty of room. Look at that. dump out this load of unscreened loom in this muddy area here. Notice I'm keeping my tractor out of the mud best I can. Muddy and mucky. Yuck. Didn't go over the top. We're gonna get the hard top now. He's gonna break it up best he can, then he's gonna load it up with the loader. Gave his notice yesterday. Wants to work a little closer to home, and that's all I can say about that. Sad to see him go. He was a great guy to work with, good hard worker, gave everything he had to the company. It's one of those things. So I'll be back on low bed, and I think I'll be the full-time low bed guy. Before I used to be just a winter low bed guy because I didn't want to be full-time because my kids were still young and I had to be home at certain times, but my schedule is a little more flexible now. So as long as I'm feeling good, I'll do it. And yeah, so I'll make for good content, I think. And I keep getting loaded here, put probably another bucket here and 3 or 4 more buckets in the back. Call it a load, take it out to the gravel pit, dump it out, bring some more material back to the material yard, and we'll see what we'll do after that. This week did not turn out how I expected. I got a lot to say, but yeah, is what it is. Mid-America, 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now. Check me out at the Shell Rotella booth. Come on by Thursday and Friday. I'll be hanging out at Shell Rotella, just being myself. And catch me walking around the truck show on Saturday all by myself. I don't have any friends. Maybe you'll be my friend. Truck stayed pretty clean today. Tires are a mess. I'm going home. It's 4 o'clock. It's Friday. Tomorrow I have an interview at George's Garage in Avon. So check out that video. It'll be coming up next week at some point. I don't like to put them all together. You know, a little space in between the videos. And I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be pretty awesome. Another interview with a company that's been around for decades and decades and decades, since I was little. So peace and grace. Catch me in Mid-America, Boston Trucker. I'm out of here. Have a good one. Thanks for spending your time with me. All right, bye.